Grigori Vasilyevich Aleksandrov or Alexandrov was a prominent Soviet film director who was named a People's Artist of the USSR in 1947 and a Hero of Socialist Labor in 1973. He was awarded the Stalin Prizes for 1941 and 1950, initially associated with Sergei Eisenstein, with whom he worked as a co-director, screenwriter and actor. Alexandrov became a major director in his own right in the 1930s, when he directed Jolly Fellows and a string of other musical comedies starring his wife Lyubov Orlova.Though Aleksandrov remained active until his death. His musicals, amongst the first made in the Soviet Union, remain his most popular films. They rival Ivan Pyryev's films as the most effective and light-hearted showcase ever designed from the Stalin-era USSR. Early life and collaboration with Eisenstein. Alexandrov was born Grigori Vasilyevich Mormonenko in Ekaterinburg, Russia in 1903. Starting at age 9, Alexandrov worked odd jobs at the Ekaterinburg Opera Theatre, eventually making his way to assistant director. He also pursued a musical education, studying violin at the Ekaterinburg Musical School, from which he graduated in 1917. Alexandrov came to Moscow after studying directing and briefly managing a movie theatre. In 1921, while acting with the Prolet Cult Theatre, he met then 23-year-old Sergei Eisenstein. In 1923, Alexandrov was given the main role in Eisenstein's adaptation of Alexander Ostrovsky's 1868 comedy Enough Stupidity in Every Wise Man and in Eisenstein's first film Glumov's Diary, a short film that was included in the play. Eisenstein and Alexandrov collaborated on several plays before Eisenstein made his first feature-length film, Strike, which Alexandrov co-wrote with Eisenstein, Ilya Kravchunovsky, and Valerian Pletneyev. Next came Eisenstein's landmark The Battleship Potemkin, in which Alexandrov played Ippolit Gilerovsky. Alexandrov co-directed Eisenstein's next two features, October, 10 Days That Shook the World and The General Line, which were also the last works in the silent era. Along with Eisenstein's other major collaborator, cinematographer Edward Teese, Alexandrov joined the director when he came to Hollywood in the early 1930s. He also traveled with them to Mexico for the filming of Eisenstein's unrealized project about the country. An edited version of the footage, known as QUE Acute Viva Mexico, was put together by Alexandrov in 1979. Musical comedies. Alexandrov returned to the Soviet Union in 1932 under direct orders from Joseph Stalin. He directed a pro-Stalin film, International, the following year, and after a meeting with Stalin and Maxim Gorky, he embarked on making the first Soviet musical, Jolly Fellows, starring Leonid Utyasov and Lyubov Orlova, whom Alexandrov later married. She starred in his most successful films, Circus, Volga Volga, and Bright Path. After World War II, Alexandrov's first post-war film was Spring, another musical comedy starring Lyubov Orlova, as well as several other top-notch actors, including Nikolai Cherkasov, Horace Garin, and Fana Ranevskaya. Popular public figures in the Soviet Union, Alexandrov and Orlova had a difficult relationship with Stalin, who admired the films but frequently harassed the pair. Paradoxically, Alexandrov found it harder to work in the more politically relaxed atmosphere that followed Stalin's death. He taught directing at VGIK from 1951 to 1957 and made several films about the years leading up to the Russian Revolution, including several about Vladimir Lenin. His last narrative feature was Vorotsi Lera, which starred Orlova in her last role and was not released. Orlova died in 1975. In 1983, he worked on a documentary about the career of his late wife. He died in December 1983 of a kidney infection and was buried next to Orlova in Novodevichy Cemetery in Moscow. Honors and awards: Order of the Red Star, Stalin Prizes, First Class for the film Circus, and Volga, First Class for the film Meeting on the Elbe, People's Artist of the USSR, Hero of Socialist Labor, 3 Orders of Lenin, Order of the Red Banner of Labor 3 times, Order of the Friendship of Peoples. Filmography: October, 10 Days That Shook the World, 1928, co-directed with Sergei Eisenstein. The General Line, 1929, co-directed with Sergei Eisenstein. Sentimental Romance, 1931, documentary. 5-Year Plan, 1932, documentary. Que Viva Mexico, 1932, co-directed with Sergei Eisenstein. International, 1933, short documentary. Jolly Fellows, 1934. Circus, 1936. Sports Parade, 1938. Volga, 1938. The Shining Path, 1940. A Family, 1943. Men of the Caspian, 1944, documentary. Spring, 1947. Encounter at the Elbe, 1949. The Composer Glinka, 1952. Great Morning, 1953. From Man to Man, 1958. Russian Souvenir, 1960. Lenin in Poland, 1961. Before October, 1965. Lenin in Switzerland, 1965, co-directed with Dmitry Vasilyev. On the Eve, 1966, co-directed with Dmitry Vasilyev.